Hi there, Taurus. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for November. This month begins with a very important solar eclipse on the 3rd. This occurs in your sector of relating, and all sorts of relationships can be influenced by this for the next 6 months, and mightily positively. So you've got a lot to look forwards to. But most immediately this month, Mercury, the planet of communication, ironically, continues to twist backwards in this sector through to the 10th of the month. So the potential for cross wires is still quite strong. The solar eclipse is a longer term influence, and it's also combining by just being a couple of degrees away from Saturn, the planet of structure, which has been in your sector of relating for the last 13 months. If you have gone through some kind of big disappointment in a close romantic relationship in that time, or there has been a particular relationship which has become more important during that time, it's likely to be because of Saturn. In a positive sense, it can bring stability into your world, but it also can squeeze out the goodness where something isn't quite right. And with the Sun side by side Saturn, it can diminish some of the Sun and therefore the solar eclipse goodness. But also it's an opportunity to look for more sincerity in your relationships and almost demand it. And there are 2 other planets which are also forging great links to this solar eclipse. Mars, which is in a smashing location for you, really vigorous and even giving you an extra romanticness this month, and also Pluto, which is urging you to be much more open-minded in the way you approach life. Now your ruler, Venus, is also going to be moving on the 5th, and that moves also into the same area that Pluto is occupying, the sector of journeying, the sector of knowledge, the sector of growth and expansion. But because you're a fixed sign, you don't always find it easy to learn new ways of doing things because you like what you know. It makes you feel comfortable. That's not to say that you can't work very hard to get an educational qualification. Of course you can. It's more about your personal habits. So think about that in terms of how you relate, because Venus here is asking you to be as open-minded and as sociable as possible. But by week 3 of this month, she is going to be going alongside Pluto, which could lead to a really fated introduction or meeting or date, and it could change your whole life. But equally, it could see you ending up in the clutches of someone who just wants a sexual encounter. They don't want a long-term relationship. And if that is something that's very important to you, you just need to be aware of the downside of Venus combining with Pluto. Now, this is also a month when Uranus and Pluto continue to forge a square. And the first 2 weeks of the month, it's going to be exact. Just be conscious of what this one's about. Uranus is in the part of your horoscope which is stirring up lots of subconscious restlessness. Pluto's asking you to be free, to be freer, to be more explorative. If you're letting fears and inner doubt stop you from really embracing a wider, more exciting life, the tensions will continue. So try to find new pursuits. And remember that variety really is the spice of life. Your relationship issues this month start to improve from the 11th when Mercury goes forwards, but there is a full moon on the 17th, which asks you just again to be more conscious of what you need, what you want to give, what other people want from you. It's a 3-way dimension. It's not just about your needs. Now, the Sun moves on the 22nd into Sagittarius, and that is a part of your situation which is very much to do with the more psychological dimension of life. It can also be to do with ends and beginnings, but it can also be to do with the things you share, and in a more prosaic sense, finances, property issues, savings and pensions. And you may find yourself active around these in the last 10 days of the month. But also Venus, your ruler, goes opposite with Jupiter in the last few days of the month. And this can see you have a glorious conversation or connection with someone, or get totally swept away by something to the point where you pledge to do something that may not be good for you. So go careful, particularly around formal contracts as the month comes to a close. But even then, there is another grand minor trine that's forged at the end of the month, which can see you finish November on a high. And this sees Mars collaborating brilliantly with Jupiter, collaborating brilliantly with Mercury, which in turn collaborates brilliantly with Jupiter. And one way or another, I do feel that you're going to end this month feeling a lot more optimistic about life in general, in lots of different ways. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.